Ukraine is holding its breath as newly elected President of the United States, Donald Trump, prepares to unveil his much-anticipated plan for ending Russia's war, with many afraid that U.S. aid to Ukraine will be halted amid pressure to negotiate with Russia. Although Trump, a wildly polarizing figure, will be at the heart of international diplomacy for the next 4 years, he won't be acting alone. This week, he announced the first appointments for his cabinet, who will be advising Trump on everything from foreign policy to national security. Pundits, billionaires, and TV hosts. These are just a few of the titles previously held by Trump's picks for key roles, raising eyebrows in the US and beyond. Let's take a look at who Trump has slotted for his inner circle so far, and what their appointments could mean for Ukraine. One of the most unexpected appointments was that of Pete Hegseth, a Fox News television host who Trump has picked to be the new U.S. Secretary of Defense. Hegseth is a 44-year-old National Guard veteran-turned-conservative heavyweight who has no prior political or military leadership experience. Hegseth has backed Trump in his criticism of aid to Ukraine, and even suggested that Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine pales in comparison to wokeness. Hegseth will be replacing Lloyd Austin, who has led the 50-member Ukraine Defense Contact Group, holding responsibility for the country's entire defense policy. If Austin's tenure, along with Biden's, was characterized by drip-feeding aid to Ukraine, we can expect less support from Hegseth. The Pentagon reacted to Hegseth's appointment with shock, as he wasn't on anyone's radar as even a remote contender for the role.
What's happening in Ukraine is important, but it pales in comparison to the crime I see in my streets, to the wokeness I see in my culture.
Some suspect that there will be a campaign against Hegseth due to his prior controversies and lack of experience. Even Republican members of Congress, who will have the final say in the matter, expressed surprise that Trump would pick a media personality for one of the most sensitive defense roles in the world. In choosing his national security advisor, Trump went for someone with a little more political experience: Florida Congressman Michael Waltz. A retired Green Beret, Waltz was initially supportive of U.S. aid to Ukraine, encouraging President Joe Biden to supply more weapons to Kyiv, and arguing that allowing Ukraine to fall would pave the way for Vladimir Putin to invade NATO. However, as of last month, Waltz has changed his tune, claiming that mounting tensions in the Pacific, specifically in regards to China, have made Ukraine a lesser priority for the U.S. This speaks to a wider suspicion that Trump's administration may be pivoting its focus towards a potential future conflict with China. Trump has nominated former Democrat-turned-Republican Tulsi Gabbard as the new director of national intelligence. This is a particularly concerning appointment, as Gabbard has echoed Kremlin talking points since the start of the full-scale invasion, claiming that the Biden administration provoked Putin by entertaining the idea of Ukraine joining NATO. Gabbard has repeated the Kremlin's conspiracy theories about the U.S. funding biological weapons labs in Ukraine prior to the full-scale invasion. Clips of her criticizing Biden have even featured on Russian state television.
Проводившие ранее, выльются в ужасающие последствия, которые выходят за рамки того, что мы можем представить. Интересно, что... Да.
Gabbard's and Moscow's talking points are so closely aligned that some have questioned whether she's a national security risk. John Bolton, Trump's former national security advisor, called for Gabbard, along with Matt Gaetz, to be investigated by the FBI before being confirmed in their roles by Congress. Along with replacing key positions within the government, Trump has also set out to create new roles. Business tycoon, tech enthusiast, and billionaire Elon Musk has been appointed to lead the Department of Government Efficiency, a new body envisioned to provide advice and guidance from outside the government. Musk, who owns the social media platform X but has no experience in political leadership, was even reportedly included in a recent post-election phone call between Trump and President Volodymyr Zelensky. Also appointed to lead this new department is Vivek Ramaswamy, another Trump-aligned entrepreneur with no government experience outside of a brief, failed bid to earn the 2024 Republican presidential nomination over Trump. Both Musk and Ramaswamy have criticized aid to Ukraine, with Ramaswamy consistently opposing it, and Musk flip-flopping on his stance. In the early days of the invasion, Musk donated Starlink internet terminals to the Ukrainian military, a move that was then clouded by an alleged decision to disconnect the terminals per Moscow's request. In the 2 years since, Musk has ultimately adopted Kremlin-aligned talking points, suggesting that Ukraine should cede its occupied territories to stop the war. Florida Senator Marco Rubio is slated to be the next Secretary of State. Rubio first gained national prominence when he ran for president in the 2016 election, dropping out relatively early as the Republican Party converged around Trump. Although he went on to endorse Trump, it was with some trepidation. When speaking about the choice, Rubio said of Trump, "I disagree with him on many things, but I disagree with his opponent on virtually everything. I wish we had better choices for president." Rubio will replace Antony Blinken, one of Ukraine's most vocal supporters in the current US government. Although Rubio initially condemned Russia's war, he voted against the $61 billion aid package for Ukraine in April, and has recently called for a negotiated settlement of the war, implying that Ukraine would have to cede its occupied territories to Russia. Based on his comments, Rubio is expected to tailor his approach to Ukraine around Trump's idea that the war must end as fast as possible.
I'm not on Russia's side, but unfortunately the reality of it is that the way the war in Ukraine is going to end is with a negotiated settlement.
This is what he said on November 6th, a day after Trump's re-election. "I think the Ukrainians have been incredibly brave and strong in standing up to Russia. But at the end of the day, what we are funding here is a stalemate war, and it needs to be brought to a conclusion, or that country is going to be set back 100 years. While this is by far not the most critical stance taken among Trump's nominees, it doesn't indicate a huge willingness to deviate from Trump's views. Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz has been nominated for Attorney General, in a move that wasn't wholly surprising given his long-term loyalty to Trump. In this role, Gaetz will head the Department of Justice, which has assisted Ukraine in investigating Russian war crimes and has sought to confiscate hundreds of millions in Russian assets under his predecessor, Merrick Garland. Gaetz's comments on Ukraine align pretty much entirely with Trump's, although notably he took the initiative earlier this year to suggest that US aid to Ukraine should be diverted towards building the wall along the US-Mexico border. Trump's team already looks like quite a lineup of characters, but it yet remains to be seen who they'll be joined by and how many of them will actually step into the roles in January. There are a few things we can glean from Trump's choices so far. He seems to be assembling a team that will be ruthlessly hawkish against China, and likely willing to end Russia's war on unfavorable terms for Ukraine that don't preclude a future relationship between Moscow and Washington. For Ukraine, this is disheartening, but not a final blow by any means. As Kyiv keeps saying, we will deal with whoever we have to in hopes of achieving the best possible outcome. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to this channel. If you'd like to become a member of the Kyiv Independent community and help us to deliver more independent journalism from the heart of Ukraine, visit the link in the description below.